Okay, so let's begin with the anti-hospital detention Senate bills 217 and 960, authored by this representation and Senator Jingoy Estrada. These bills both aim to prohibit the practices of detaining patients for failure to settle hospital bills. Hospital detention is not just a health issue, it's a human rights issue. It places an undue burden on the poor and vulnerable, often preventing timely discharge or worse, forcing families into deeper debt. We recognize the legitimate concerns of hospitals regarding unpaid dues, but this must be balanced with our duty to uphold human dignity and ensure access to care without fear of detention. Almost a year ago, we heard about palit ulo as a practice, which requires patients' relatives to have a replacement person present if they wish to leave the premises for necessities. So, unang tanong po, para sa Valenzuela City Government at sa Department of Health, pwede po bang humingi ng update dito sa kasong ito kaugnay ng ACE Medical Center? So, I believe I heard the name of Councilor De La Cruz earlier.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Yes, good afternoon, Councilor. Ano pong update sa kasong ito?
Last year, Your Honor, December 2024, the parties opted to settle the case. The management of ACE Medical Center paid each victim 1 million pesos in the form of damages. So in total, 4 million pesos po ito. The families of the victims are very happy and they opted to sign waivers and quit claims in favor of the hospitals, Your Honor.
Salamat, Councilor. And the Department of Health, yung inyo pong update sa parehong mga kasong ito?
Yes, Madam Chair, there's already a resolution of this particular cases, and as the LG of Valenzuela already know, there's a fine for this particular health facilities, Your Honor. So there's already a resolution.
So aside from the fine, sa perspective ng DOH at sa Valenzuela City Government, ano po yung mga lessons sa mga kasong ito na pwedeng tulungan tayo sa pagbuo ng ating batas? Maybe DOH, ASEC sa Kilabon first.
Yes, Your Honor. If with your kind indulgence, if I could, because it would also answer the question if I read our position paper, just a brief position paper, Your Honor.
Please proceed.
So Republic Act 9439, or the Anti-Hospital Deposit Law, was enacted on April 27, 2007. So the law prohibits and penalizes the detention of patients in hospitals and medical clinics for non-payment of hospital bills or medical expenses, provided that the attending physician has already issued discharge order and the patient secures a promissory note. However, the protection of RA 9439 extends only to patients confined in basic ward accommodations. Patients admitted in private rooms are excluded from its coverage. So over the years, the Health Facilities and Service Regulatory Bureau of DOH, or HFSRB, has received numerous complaints alleging violations of RA 9439. A significant number of these complaints were dismissed because of the patients involved were confined in private rooms, which fall outside the scope of the law. To address this limitation as part of its regulatory interventions, the HFSRB issues letters to concerned hospitals directing them to discharge the patients and requiring them to submit an explanation within 3 days why they should not be charged with violations of RA 9439, RA 4226, or the Hospital Licensure Act, and other relevant laws. In practice, most hospitals comply with these directives, resulting in the discharge of patients. So for calendar year 2024, the HFSRB assisted 592 clients, and of 592, 25 were for cadaver request to be released. And for calendar year 2025, January to September, HFSRB has already assisted 621 clients. So of 621, 33 pertains to cadaver request release. So the Bureau likewise conducts follow-ups with these hospitals to phone calls to verify whether the patients have indeed been discharged. So our position, Madam Chair, is we support the proposed bills of Her Honor and Senator Jingoy Estrada to amend 9439. So the amendments are aligned with the objectives of the Universal Healthcare Act, as they say, expand protection by removing the distinction between patients confined in ward accommodations and those in private rooms, ensuring that all patients, regardless of room classification, are protected from financial detention, and integrate support mechanisms by recognizing not only promissory notes, but also guarantee letters from government agencies such as the SWD, SSS, GSIS, and PhilHealth as valid instruments for discharge. So the Bureau firmly believes that these amendments will be significantly strengthen patients' rights, reduce financial risks, and move the country closer to the realization of the universal healthcare for all Filipinos. So in sum, Madam Chair, the lessons that we can deduce from this particular case is that we support that there should be no distinction as to the current law. It's as to the coverage that it extends also to private room accommodations, Madam Chair.
Thank you, ASEC. So noted, no, yung support nyo para isama yung mga private room patients at i-recognize yung what are currently called guarantee letters or referral letters. Even as kung nasusubaybayan nyo naman yung mga pagdinig nitong komite, there are discussions within the committee kung ano ba yung dapat na maging future nitong sistemang ito in relation to PhilHealth and in relation to the whole universal healthcare system implementation. So back to Valenzuela City Government, ano naman po batay sa mga karanasan nyo sa apat na kasong pinag-usapan kanina sa ACE Medical Center, ano naman po yung insights ninyo kung paano natin pwedeng i-improve yung ating batas?
Madam Chair, with your indulgence, kwento ko lang po sa inyo kung ano yung nangyari dun sa 4 cases namin. Around February 2024, meron pong lumapit sa City Social Welfare Office po namin, nangihingi po ng financial assistance. When she was interviewed by our social worker, she manifested distress and trauma. So the social worker, conducted interviews. Sinabi po niya, galing daw po siya sa ACE Hospital, tumakas daw po siya using the fire exit kasi 3 days na daw po siya nakadetain doon. So tinanong po namin siya, ang sabi niya namatay daw po yung asawa niya and may utang daw sila sa hospital, ayaw ilabas yung cadaver ng asawa niya. In exchange, kailangan nandoon siya as, well, hostage or security, whatever you may call it. So nilabas po yung cadaver, nandun po siya for 3 days, hindi po siya binibigyan ng tubig, pagkain, nandun lang po siya sa waiting area, may nakabantay na security guard sa kanya to ensure that she will not escape. On the third day, hindi na po niya makayanan dahil nasa isip niya na nakalamay yung bangkay ng asawa niya habang siya nandun lang sa ospital. So tumakas po siya using the fire exit. Pumunta po siya sa City Hall, humingi po siya ng financial assistance. But when we knew about her story, uh, kumuha na po agad kami ng mga CCTV footages sa evidence. Then, gumawa na po kami, gumawa po si Mayor Wes Gatchalian namin ng public hearing and media ano po, para po for other victims to come out. Yun nga po nangyari, may 3 pa po na lumabas. The second victim, way back 2017, nanganak po siya sa ACE Medical Center. Hindi po sapat ang pambayad niya sa ospital. Ang ginawa naman po, yung sanggol po mismo ang dinetain sa ospital. The newborn baby was detained in the hospital for 40 days, Your Honor. 40 days. Umabot po ng pagkakataon na nag-aambaga na lang po yung mga nurses doon para pambili ng gatas ng bata. The mother was even told na kung gusto mo mag-janitress ka na lang dito, yung sweldo mo ay yung pambabayad mo sa ospital. That was for 40 days, Your Honor. May hindi rin po binigyan ng birth certificate yung bata. The third victim that we interviewed, she was detained for 18 days. Hindi rin po sapat ang pambayad sa ospital, nandun lang po siya sa kwarto, hindi pinapalabas. The fourth victim was only for 5 hours kasi humingi na po siya ng police assistance kaya pinalabas na po siya agad. The lessons we learned here, Your Honor, we filed criminal cases for serious illegal detention for the 3 cases and slight illegal detention for the 4th case. We also filed the administrative complaint with the DOH and with the Commission on Human Rights. What we learned in these 4 cases are first, the national law, RA 9439 only extends to wards and charity beds. Second, it does not cover the national law only covers the patients themselves, not the relatives, not the cadavers. As in the first case, ang didetain po dito is the wife of the deceased patient. Yung sa pangalawa naman po, yung sanggol naman. And hindi po nako-cover ang birth and death certificates. Kino-hostage po ang death and birth certificates para po security in the form of security for payment. So yun po yung tatlong observations namin. Hindi only for public wards, hindi po extended ang coverage ng protection to the patient's representatives or patient's relatives. And third, hindi po covered ang birth and death certificates. So what we did in response to this information, the City Council of Valenzuela City enacted a city ordinance prohibiting the detention of patients, detention of cadavers, and non-issuance of birth and death certificates. This ordinance, city ordinance, was enacted May 2024 and became effective in July 2024, Your Honor. We met with the owners of the hospitals in Valenzuela City, explained to them the coverage of the city ordinance, and they understood it, Your Honor. So far, meron po kami natatanggap na cases of detention, but after sending them demand letters as required under our local ordinance, pinapalabas naman po sila. So in our experience, the city ordinance is an effective deterrence against detention of patients, Your Honor.
Maraming salamat, Councilor De La Cruz, and that's an incentive for us to pass the law para nationally pwedeng maging deterrence din yung ganitong batas sa ganyang mga practices, horrific practices, tulad ng naging positive effect, no, ng ordinance sa inyong syudad. Mr. Cerezo, meron po bang data ang PSA kung ilan ba yung mga Pilipinong pasyente o mga more precisely, may statistics ba sa hospital admissions or incidents related sa hospital detention na due to unpaid bills?
Madam, good afternoon. Unfortunately, we do not have that kind of data. We only have the general population on the senior citizens. Those, I think, are administrative data that can best be provided by the hospitals and or the appropriate bureau of the DOH. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Salamat, sir. So, even in terms of health status, may data ba ang PSA or wala rin po?
Unfortunately, wala rin po, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right, sir. So we should begin following up this concern of mine, as you suggested, sa DOH, bukod sa mga individual hospitals or, for that matter, hospital associations. So, ASEC sa Kilabon, may database na po ba ang DOH regarding ganitong mga insidente, either ng hospital deposit or hospital detention violations?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor, we have data. We have a data, Your Honor, as to the number of clients assisted. For calendar year 2024, the FHSRB assisted 592 clients, and 25 of the 592 pertains to the request for cadaver release. And for calendar year 2025, January up to September, the Bureau already assisted 621 clients, and of 621, 33 pertains to cadaver request for release, Madam Chair.
Salamat, ASEC, for repeating those data. Please submit them also in writing to the committee. Pero syempre, yan yung mga data na na-capture ng department dun sa mga pamilyang nagkusa talaga na magreklamo. Probably wala pa dun yung proactively tinanong or na-capture halimbawa sa patient feedback sa mga ospital or na-capture ng department. Hopefully through the better implementation not only of the anti-hospital deposit law pero itong pagpasa namin ng anti-hospital detention law, mas maging proactive both yung information At saka yun na nga, yung provision ng mga hotlines, yung sinabi ni Sen. Erwin at yung MAIFIP hotline din pala. And then that these be also deterrents, no, disincentives to violations of patients' rights. Balikan ko po si Councilor De La Cruz. Sir, so observable din no na gumastos ng 4 million pesos yung ospital para ma-settle yung kaso. So halos katumbas ito ng multa no nung ating panukalang batas. So kaya naman pala. Pero bakit kailangan pang humantong sa in the earlier period sa hospital detention ng mga pasyente nila? So mari po bang tanungin paano nagkaroon ng settlement?
Aside from filing the criminal cases, administrative cases with DOH and the Commission on Human Rights, we also looked into their business permit compliances, yung building po mismo nila kung may mga violations. So nagpatong-patong na po kasi yung violations ng ACE Hospital and the negative the backlash that they received from the public because this was made very very much public. These cases were covered by the major news agencies and television and newspapers. So malaki na po ang impact sa kanila. And we also filed criminal cases against the responsible officers, the president, the owners. So malaki na po talaga ang damage sa kanila reputational and kaya po they just opted to compromise, Your Honor.
And anong naging papel ng LGU dun sa settlement?
First, Your Honor, we provided legal services. In Valenzuela City, we have a legal aid clinic that I head. We provide free legal services to indigents. So we provided them the lawyers. I myself, I appear for them in court and the fiscal's office, CHR and DOH. Second, we paid for their bills, Your Honor. All their hospital bills were shouldered by Senator Sherwin Gatchalian and the LGU. So we provided them. Our social workers also provided them with psychological treatments because of the trauma that they experienced. So the DOH imposed fines against them. The DOH found them guilty of the administrative charges that we filed against them. So the pressure was all around, Your Honor. Public, the media, the DOH, CHR, LGU, and we threatened to close them down.
Pero paano exactly lumitaw yung option ng settlement? Kanina nung una kong tinanong parang may misteryo parang slight nagbuntong hininga kayo. I mean, was it an idea of the LGU? Was it offered by the hospital at winelcome ng patients at ng LGU? I mean, just in point
Yes,
of
Your
fact.
Honor. I serve as their lawyer in the 4 cases. The first, in one of the cases, because this was committed way back 2017, the court dismissed the case because of prescription. And the 3 other cases are still pending. May yung stressful na po kasi para dun sa complainants natin yung nangyayari because of the continuous na trial settings. And one of the cases was dismissed on the ground of prescription. So we opened the discussions for payment of damages, Your Honor.
Yung we is yung mga pasyente
LGU.
at kayo. LGU
Yes po.
open.
LGU,
Okay,
the patients, and me as their lawyer, Your Honor.
All right, so all together. And ito po'y paano to naaayon? Naayon ba to sa local ordinance ng city na kontra sa hospital detention?
The fines, they were never charged the fines, Your Honor, because all cases were dismissed against them. This the damages paid for the families of the victims, Your Honor. Doon po lahat napunta.
Asek sa Kilabon, may na-monitor ba ang DOH na ganitong mga kaso na pati yung pending hospital bills ay pinapatawa ng interes at hinaharas pa yung pasyente at yung mga pamilya na magbayad?
So far, Your Honor, we do not have any case that has that the hospital imposed interest. As I've said, Your Honor, when we write these hospitals, they immediately comply and accept the promissory note. And upon verification with these patients, they did not relate to us that the hospitals impose interest. So we do not have that particular case, Your Honor, as of
But
now.
please take note, may anecdotal evidence na kayo mula sa hearing natin from Senator Erwin that there are hospitals doing these practices. Siguro, Sen. Erwin, pwede nating tignan dun sa pag-finalize nitong anti-hospital detention law at pati sa magiging IRRs niya on the part of the executive na aware sa ganitong mga practices at dapat ay mapigilan ito. At kung gagawin pa rin, ay maparusahan din. Gusto ko namang tanungin na yung patients organizations, ano pong pananaw nyo dito sa aming mga anti-hospital detention bills? So, Ms. Gurley Lorenzo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We wholeheartedly welcome this bill because we ourselves in PAPO have been barraged with questions and pleas of how the patients will be helped when these circumstances happen. So we agree with the penalty and even with Senator Erwin's suggestion of imprisonment and even revoke the license if the hospital has been doing this more than 3 times already, I guess. But our concern is also, is it possible, Madam Chair, that when this happens, that the patient does not need to go out of the hospital to seek the guarantee letters? Can it be within the hospital? Let's say with PhilHealth Cares, I know they have different tables or offices in hospitals because that adds to the stress. If the patient needs to go out of the hospital, line up with SSS, etc., GSIS, and all that. So we hope that it will be within the hospital. If there's a malasakit center there, maybe there will be another category for malasakit center with regard to the anti-detention law. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Salamat, Ms. Gurley. In fact, we do have PhilHealth Cares here and sa pag-oversee namin sa Kongreso sa implementation ng UHC law, ang mas itutulak talaga naming direksyon ay i-institutionalize talaga yung programs and services ng DOH at ng PhilHealth dun na sa point of care kung sa ospital man yan. And yes, just in a one-stop shop dun sa loob ng bawat health facility para again, yung getting well na lang and living, not dying, ang concern ng pasyente. Kahapon dun sa DOH budget hearing, nabanggit pa nga mismo ni Secretary Arbosa na baka hindi na nga lang social services officer but in line with PhilHealth ngayon, ang pillar sa universal healthcare system, parang health insurance or health financing assessor or advisor, sabihin sa bawat pasyente or kamag-anak niya ay ito yung mga serbisyong pwede niyong i-access. At dito sa isang mesang ito, sa isang opisinang ito, sa ospital na to, niyo pwedeng makuha lahat. So, we'll be following up DOH to even before the start of the year kung kailan i-renew yung mga license to operate. In December na po, USEC. So para hindi na po maghintay ng 2 buwan, please just inform the committee kung lahat po ba talaga ay compliant dito sa usapin ng pagkakaroon ng one-stop shop.
Madam Chair?
Yes, and Erwin.
Opo, may kay Attorney Subia kanino tumataas kayo ng kamay pero bago po ninyo kung ano yung sasabihin ninyo, tanong ko lang po, di po ba lahat tayo miyembro ng PhilHealth? Sabi nga, hindi ba pwedeng gamitin ng pasyente yung PhilHealth? Ito, pambayad ko. Sagot ng gobyerno ito, yung aking hospital. At saka magpo-promissory note nila ko. Will that be sufficient or not sufficient enough na para makalabas siya sa hospital? Total, PhilHealth nga po yun, di po ba? Sagot ng gobyerno, yung ilang porsyento man doon.
Yes, Your Honor.
Attorney Subia.
Ang coverage ng PhilHealth ngayon ay para nasa lahat ng Pilipino. Meron pa nga tayong OACB sa outpatient sa ER. Kaya lang, hindi naman yun 100%. On the average, pag na-confine, nasa mga 30% yun ng total hospital bill.
Yun na nga po, Attorney Subia. 30% po ba? Di po ba? Sabihin natin granting 100,000 na naging hospital bill ng pasyente. Hindi mo papalabasin dahil may utang siya. ito na nga po, member po ako ng PhilHealth. Sabi nga, di po ba, lahat tayo member ng PhilHealth. So may 30%, di po ba?
Yes, sir.
Hindi ba sasapat yung 30% ng PhilHealth na ibawas doon para makalabas lang pasyente? So we're saying na kailangan ikulong pa rin, kailangan mo pa rin ng mga collateral. Paano kung walang collateral? Paano kung siya po ay nangangalakal lang? Nakagat siya ng aso, kailangan tumakbo ng ospital, hindi siya makalabas ngayon. Wala po siyang collateral. Dahil ang collateral niya, yung kariton niya. Yun lang po yun. At saka, wala po siyang permanent address dahil pag-alagala nga po, tama naman po kayo. So, we have to take in consideration. So, PhilHealth member, lahat po tayo membro. Hindi ba sapat? PhilHealth po ako po si ganito, Mr. ganito. Dapat automatic na yun, minus 30% doon sa 100,000 niya, sir. Tapos, yung gumawa na kayo ng standard form na parang, what do you call this, na promissory note, pirmahan niya lang. Kung hindi siya marunong pumirma, thumb mark niya doon, sasagutin na ng gobyerno. Hindi pa ba sapat yun?
Your Honor, yun talaga ang nangyayari ngayon. Sa mga hospital na members namin, as I earlier mentioned, pinaka-rule namin ay i-release yung pasyente or yung cadaver kung namatay. Yung nangyari sa ACE, I think that is one of the very few exceptions. Actually, ilan lang naman sila as against the more than 12,000 beds hospital ng private. So napakaliit siyang porsyento. Mula pa ng 2007, talagang naka-implement itong batas na to. Takot din naman yung mga hospital kahit na ang penalty nun I think is only 20,000 at the option ng judge pwedeng may kulong yung mga responsible officers. Sinusunod yun kahit maliit ang pena kasi mahirap makakaso ang hospital. Ngayon gawing doon sa kaya ko nagtaas kanina ng kamay, doon sa social welfare. Lahat ng hospital meron yan kasi under the Department of Health, yung LTO kung tawagin, yung kanilang assessment tool, before they can issue the license to operate, isa sa requirement, merong isang kwarto dedicated doon sa ground floor ng hospital, accessible to the patients, para sa isang social welfare employee. So yung social welfare employee, lahat ng hospital meron yan. Naka-duty yan 24 hours to assist the indigent saka yung mga pasyenteng kapuso-pambayad. Ayun ang nagko-coordinate dito sa mga DSWD, PCSO, lahat, mga guarantee letters sa DOH, yun ang kanilang trabaho. Although, I would admit na for financial constraint, hindi siguro kaya ng hospital na bawat pasyente na pupunta sa hospital that needs assistance, ay yung hospital mismo, ang staff ng hospital ang pupunta doon sa bawat ahensya na yun. Dapat maging online
Attorney
siguro
Zubia,
yun.
maaring dapat gawing online. Pero hindi naman po yun ang ibig sabihin na yung mismong staff ay sa bawat pasyente gagawin yung ayaw nating gagawin ng pasyente na pupuntahan ang separate offices in each case. But i-centralize na nga po dun sa one-stop shop ng
Yes,
ospital.
ma'am, ganun talaga
Yung
nangyari.
pagtulong ng staff sa pasyente, i-access yon.
Yes.
And in any case, attorney, dun sa unang sinabi nyo, iniintay naman po natin yung submission ng DOH, yung data po nila, ilang instances ng pag-violate ng anti-hospital deposit at anti-hospital detention, including on the part of private hospitals. I doubt na very, very few lang yan. The fact na this concern na nakarating sa atensyon po nating lahat. The fact na dun sa iisang ospital lamang, ACE, may naging 4 in the past several years. And in terms of yung sabi nyo, obligado lahat ng ospital, pati private, may one room.
Yes.
Pero I think, again, the fact na we're talking about it again, kailangan pong i-reboot. Pati po yung attitude ng buong hospital staff, kahit sa private, na yung bawat pasyente, hindi dapat parang kaiinisan na, naku, kailangan pang pigain ito para bayaran yung buong bill niya para masustain yung hospital. But really, well, coming together with government, dahil UHC na tayo, proactive, responsive, pagtutulungan,
Yes.
least financial burden sa pasyente, then dun sa financial concerns ng hospital, kami naman sa gobyerno, laan dapat to find sustainable solutions with you. But I think it is really a problem wider than you are saying, Attorney Subia, and sana makatulong yung PHAP na resolbahin ito.
Yes, Your
Mm-mm.
Honor.
Salamat, Attorney Subia. And Councilor De La Cruz, well, salamat dun sa salaysay nyo kanina. So mukhang importante talaga pati na may legal help dun sa mga pasyente, as demonstrated in your narrative, lalo na po kapag malaking ospital ang ka-deal nila sa mga kaso nila. So thank you for joining us today, and if unless you have something to add, I've been advised na you may need to leave. So the committee thanks you po for your
Salamat.
participation.
Salamat po, Your Honor. Madagdag ko lang po kanina yung sa tanong kung bakit nagsettle na lang po kami. Isa sa major reasons po, ang totoo naman po, ayaw naman po namin pasara ang hospital noon eh. We see them as our partner in delivering healthcare sa Valenzuelanos. Tama po si Senator Erwin na kulang po ang beds sa ating mga hospital. Ayaw po namin silang pasara dahil mababawasan po yung options ng aming mga pasyente sa hospital. Pangalawa, may mga dialysis patients po kasi silang kinikater every day. So if we close them down, marami pong maaapektuhan na pasyente. So we reach a compromise na beneficial to all parties po. Kaya po na-settle tong kaso na to.
Salamat, Councilor De La Cruz. Curious pa rin ako though to look at, pakisubmit na lang yung kopya ng ordinance nyo kung paano nag-fit in or maaring hindi doon yung settlement doon sa sarili nyong ordinance against anti-hospital
Yes
detention.
po, I have a copy of the ordinance now. I will just give it to the Secretariat, Your Honor.
Thank you so much, Councilor De La Cruz. Thank you very much to all for your valuable inputs dito sa first major agenda natin, and the committee will draft the committee report for the plenary deliberation. So this hearing on the anti-hospital detention bills is concluded.